What is up, you guys? It is me, Base Jill Aaron, here again with another video. And today I have another in-depth manga collection tour, and we are on the 4th bookshelf. And we got a lot to cover. Got a lot more books on this one than I have on any other bookshelf, so I'm just going to get right on into it. So first we have these oversized things and all over here on this shelf. And right here we have my Record of Lodoss War, the Grey Witch stuff. We have the light novel, which, as you can see, is hella cool. It's got like a leathery kind of texture. It's hardcover. It's beautiful gold. It's just really, really nice. Really, really cool. And then we have the manga, which was licensed by CPM back in the day, and they published them in these really huge volumes, and they flipped them. And I'd really like to see, hopefully maybe in the future, since Seven Seas has published the light novel, if they'll possibly go for maybe publishing the manga, because they're doing that manga classics thing. They've got their hands on a lot of really old classic manga, and I really, really like it a lot. Also, yeah, just to let you know, I also got this because Deedlit is another one of my elf waifus. I collect elf waifus. Next up we have SQ, Begin With Your Name, which is a manhua, which is a Chinese manga, which you don't see a lot of. This isn't translated, but I do follow the exploits of this particular webcomic, which is what it's based off of, online. And it's a really, really cute Yuri series about these two girls here on the cover. They happen to meet in by accident at a bus stop, and their relationship is just super, super cute, and I really, really like it. And I really hope that another one of these is published, because this doesn't cover the whole series. The series is still ongoing, actually, so I really hope there's more of that. And finally, we have a Robots Super Color comic, which is a serialization of different manga artists doing short sort of stories and ongoing stories, chapter by chapter in these. And these are full color, and they're really, really nice, and I really hope that doesn't fall. But unfortunately, we over here in the West only got 5 out of the 10 that were released. So even if you were to get a complete set that you could get over here, you'd only be getting half of the stuff. But I honestly probably am going to do that, because these books are really, really beautiful, and the artwork in here is sublime. So now we're going up here to the manga, and the first thing we have is the Kendaichi Case Files, The Mummy's Curse, a manga that I don't think I've ever actually opened. Like I said before about this manga a lot, is that Tokyopop, instead of releasing numbered titles for the series, like one would do for I don't know, Detective Conan, they release them in individual case files, you could jump in at any point. But I don't think you can. I feel like you'd need some context. But yeah, also the cover for this is boring as fuck, and I wonder if Tokyopop made it themselves, because it's boring as hell, and I don't think I can get it back in the bookshelf, so we're just gonna put it over there. Next up we have Kiniro Mosaic, volumes 1 through 5, the series I suffer for the cute, because each one of these tiny little 4-koma manga are $17 fucking, and I'm dying yen press. Next up we have Kiss and White Lily for My Dearest Girl, volumes 1 through 4. This is a really cute Yuri series, and the thing that I like about it is the thing that actually puts a lot of people off, is that there's a main, there's a main couple in these, but they're only ever really the focus in volume 1. The rest of the volumes, they have them in the background, sort of doing their own thing, but each volume kind of focuses on 1 or 2 different couples per book. And I like my variety. I like the difference between each volume. You got a different couple per volume. A lot of cute girls. I don't know, I just really like all the Yuri in that. That for some reason that intrigues me. I know a lot of people find that annoying, the fact that it doesn't focus on one couple. It focuses on everybody in the fucking school, essentially. But I really like it. Next up we have Kisses, Sighs, and Cherry Blossom Pink, which is a one-shot by Milk Morinaga. So of course I love it, unconditionally. And the thing about this is that this was made, like the series was made over time, and so you can actually watch Milk Morinaga's style change throughout this entire volume. It's really, really neat. Next up we have Kumamiko, volumes 1 and 2. I still need to get more of these. They're on my manga completion challenge for this year, so we will see about that. But this is about a girl, and she kind of lives out in the middle of nowhere, boonies, and she's a Miko, and she really wants to attend, like, high school in, like, the city, but she's, like, not cut out for the city at all, but she keeps on trying to prove herself. But the thing that really throws this series is, based on the title, is that she lives with this bear whom she can speak with, and who is actually, like, civilized as heck. I caught that. You didn't see it, but that was really cool. But, yeah. Kumamiko. Next up we have Kiyohaku Dogs, another secret. This only got one physical volume release before Infinity Studios died. I hear this is only like the prequel to what actually eventually happens. So at the very least, it doesn't end on a cliffhanger. It kind of ties things together pretty well at the very end. So it's not a very disappointing thing that we only got one volume of this. Next up we have Land of the Lustrous, volumes 1 through 4, a fantastic, fantastic series, and I highly recommend it. Yeah, there's not much I can say about Land of the Lustrous that hasn't already been said. It's a very popular manga. If you're looking for something a little different, a little something, like, out of the norm, but not something too crazy, I definitely recommend Land of the Lustrous. It's real tight. Next up we have The Last Uniform, volumes 1 and 2, which is complete in English. It unfortunately got discontinued while it was being published by Seven Seas. This was published in Seven Seas' first foray into Yuri, because they are the Yuri gods right now, but back when they were first starting to get into Yuri, it was actually really rocky, and a lot of the series that they acquired, like The Last Uniform, and there was another one called First Love Sisters, I think, both just kind of, like, got discontinued for, I think, like, First Love Sister was discontinued for legal reasons. I'm not sure about this one. But this one got discontinued a volume before it was supposed to end, which is really sad. I mean, it's really nice that Seven Seas is, like, dominating the Yuri world right now. But back in the day, it was so fucking difficult. Next up we have Legal Drug, which is a single volume. It just contains the entire series of Legal Drug before it changed. I think what happened is that it changed magazines, and Clamp changed the title to Drug and Drop. So this is just that. This is just what happens before Drug and Drop. Next up we have The Legend of Zelda, Legendary Editions. These are really, really cool. But I think, like, these specifically are made for just fans of The Legend of Zelda. I don't think there'd be much of incentive to buy these unless you were a fan of the series, because some of these stories are, like, really fast-paced and kind of water down the gameplay, the story within the games. But I really like them. They're really cool. I especially like how they look. They look very cool and classic. Very nice. And right next to it we have The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, volumes 1 and 2. This is a little longer and a little more adult than these. Not by a huge margin, but they are a little, they are for an older audience. I think these are, like, rated teen, and these are rated, like, all ages. So yeah, just maybe expect that. I don't know if you'd have to expect that when you bought these, but yeah, just kind of expect that. Next up we have the life-changing manga of Tidying Up, probably the most ironic manga that I have in my collection, because it's a manga about decluttering your life and sort of, like, deciding on what things are important or not important in your life. And this manga is crammed in here in my collection, full of manga, like a ridiculous amount of manga that a normal human should not have. But here it is, sitting here being kind of useless, but I kind of picked it up mostly because of the novelty. I like the message, at least. It's a really neat manga, and it's actually helped a lot of people who read it, so I definitely suggest maybe possibly picking it up if you feel like you need a little, like, self-help in terms of decluttering your life and such. Next up we have Love and Lies, volumes 1 through 3, and down here we have volume 4. This is a really sweet seinen romance series about there's a system in play where your future wife or husband is decided for you by the government. And we've got this love triangle going on between this dude and his assigned partner and the girl that he actually fell in love with. It's a really nice series, and I highly recommend it. It's real fun. Next up, we have Love at 14, volumes 1 through 6. This series comes out like once a year. It's a lovely, like, it's really cute, innocent love story, and I recommend it to anybody who's looking for like a nice, sweet love story. But just be prepared to wait the whole year for each volume. There's volume 7 finally coming out in April, but then again, you have to wait a whole year between volumes. I don't know if it's because we've caught up with Japan, or Yen Press doesn't think that this series sells well enough to warrant more volumes per year. I don't know what the deal is with that. Next up, we have Loveless, the first 4 omnibuses, which contained the content that Tokyo Pop released, and then the individual volumes with 9 through 12. Volume 13 is finally getting released. This one got released years ago, I think. It's been a really long time since we've seen another volume of Loveless. But yeah, finally getting a new volume of Loveless this year. Pretty hyped about that. Next up, we have Lucky Star, volumes 1 through 8. This is a rare case of, back when I was still, like, starting collecting officially, like, back in, like, high school. A lot of the series that I collected were not manga that went on to be, like, really, like, rare and sought after. I collected a lot of trash. But Lucky Star is one of those rare gems that I bought it as it was coming out, so it wasn't like I had to, like, go online and search high and low for, like, the good deal or whatever. But I had no idea it was gonna... It's not super rare. I think volume 8 is around, like, $40, $50 on Amazon. But yeah, it's very rare that I collect a manga while it's ongoing, and then later on it becomes rare because I have shitty taste. Next up, we have MPD Psycho, volumes 1 through 11. This is another one of those manga that I think that Dark Horse has just unceremoniously dropped, which is really unfortunate, because this is a really, really cool, like, mystery thriller. And even though it stands incomplete, I highly recommend it to anybody who's into that sort of thing. It's a little edgy, really, really graphic, both just, like, gore and also sexually. So just be prepared for that if you are interested in this series at all. But I would get on that, because I'm pretty sure now that Dark Horse is just fucked off with this series that it's going to start going out of print. And I feel like it's one of those series that's going to get more expensive over time. Next up, we have the Magical Girl Apocalypse. My mouth is getting mad dry. Volumes 1 and 2. And down here we have volumes 3 through 13. This is a totally crazy balls-to-the-wall series. This is definitely a guilty pleasure, for sure. Also Magical Girl Sight, which we're going to get to. But yeah, these two are guilty pleasure as hell. Like, it's definitely 100% not a manga for everybody. This is definitely a niche series. It's very violent and kind of sexually graphic. It's just constant bizarre craziness. And same with Magical Girl Sight. They're both just wild, insane series. But I recommend it if you're looking for something that's crazy as hell and gory as fuck. But yeah, that's Magical Girl Apocalypse and also Magical Girl Sight, volumes 1 through 5. In the middle of them, we have Magical Girl Racing Project, volume 1. I got this because I read the light novel and I enjoyed it. This is okay. It's not a bad adaptation, because sometimes when you have manga that are adapted from light novels, they usually suck. But this one's okay. I can see myself continuing to pick it up. I really like the art style, so I pretty much have it around. I'm pretty much collecting it because I enjoy the light novels, and I feel like having some additional content. Next, after Magical Girl Sight, which you've obviously sort of talked about, we have Make Love and Peace and Make More Love and Peace, which are part of the same series. They just weren't numbered. They were just given quirky titles instead. This is, it's called a Lady Komi, which is like Lady Comics. It's pretty much just porn, but if you're like a woman and it's kind of like, if you were like a woman but you just want something that's kind of like sexually satisfying. It's kind of like geared toward that sort of audience, I think. And Make Love and Peace is about this girl and her like police boyfriend, and just them kind of working out all their drama while interspersed between them just having like very romantic sex. It's something that I bought it was definitely a thirst buy, like 100% thirst buy, these two. I didn't buy them for like the plot or anything. I just wanted to see people doing the do. I'm not afraid to admit that. Next up we have Manga Dogs, volumes 1 through 3. This is a nice, quick little comedy about a manga club where only one of the members is actually like really into making manga, and she's actually good at making manga, and the other 3 characters are like annoying as fuck, and they only want to be in the manga club because they think making manga will make them popular. And that's pretty much the premise of it. It's, like I said, it's really short. It's only 3 volumes. And it's just really, really funny, and I really like it. Next up we have Mariaholic, the Omnibus Collections 1 and 2, which contain the first 6 volumes, which were the volumes that Tokyo Pop released when they had the license to the series. And then we have 7 through 13. 14 just came out, so the series is almost complete. The only thing that I'm bothered by is the fact that the omnibuses look nothing like the single volumes. I don't understand why they look different, why they had to be made to look different. It's just, it bothers me, because they look like they're 2 separate things. Next up we have Mega Tokyo volumes 1 through 4 and volumes 5 and 6. If you had to ask me what manga I'm most ashamed about having in my collection, it would have to be Mega Tokyo. Not like the super like sexual, like pervy, ecchi series. Not like the weird series that nobody likes. Like the really niche shit. No, the thing that I'm the most ashamed to say is in my manga collection is Mega Tokyo. And I don't even know why I have this anymore. It's just a blemish. I mean, if you like Mega Tokyo, like, more power to you. It's just the longer the series goes on, the cringier it gets. And it's all like, I'm dying. Fred Gallagher, I'm dying. Next up, we have Milky Way Hitchhiking Volumes 1 and 2. These are manhwa, and they are absolutely fucking stunning. They're about this cat named Milky Way, and she's kind of like this immortal being, and she travels from like place to place throughout history and time and space, it feels like. Just interacting with people and just kind of like either witnessing or sort of interacting in their lives. There's some stories in here that are like more of a historical nature. Some of them are sort of slice of life, more modern stories. There's some like high fantasy in here too, and sort of more like stories that are meant for like a younger audience. Like it's a really interesting series, and like I said, it's very, very beautiful. The artwork in here is absolutely stunning, 100% full color. So it's a higher price point, if that turns you off, but it's a beautiful manhwa, and I highly recommend it. Next up we have Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, volumes 1 through 5. This series is nice, it's cute, it's funny. It's not as heartwarming as the anime. The anime definitely improved my opinions of this series for me, but volume 4 on gets a little weird for me, because they introduced this character, I think her name is Ilulu, and like one of the things that she does that kind of bothers me is that she gives like Miss Kobayashi a penis, and she's this lolly character with these huge massive fucking breasts, and it's like, you're ruining it for me, Lulu. You're ruining this for me. This was a good series until you came along. And then we have Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, Kana's Daily Life, which is a 4-koma. It's not by Kyo Sinja, but it's by a different artist, and I think Kyo Sinja wrote the story, but it's a 4-koma, just kind of about Kana, which is pretty nice. I fucking love Kana. Kana's my favorite. So I definitely appreciate a series just about her, the best character in Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Fight me. Next up here, we have the Japanese editions of Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. say what you will about the series, but this is probably my favorite. And I might be in the minority here, but this is my favorite Gundam series, hands down. Out of everything I've seen, this is probably my favorite Gundam series. And although this is in Japanese, and usually my rule is I don't buy a lot of Japanese manga because I can't read it, but it's pretty much follows the anime beat for beat, so it's easy to understand, at least in context. And plus, I'm just a shameless Iron-Blooded Orphans fangirl, so I have these, and this is the first season. I know there's a manga for the second season, but I don't know if it's complete yet. And before we get on to these, we have these stacked up over here. We have Monster Hunter Flash Hunter, Volumes 1 through 10, the good Monster Hunter series. I highly recommend it to anybody, especially people who are just now getting into Monster Hunter with Monster Hunter World. This is a wonderful manga for people who are just now getting into Monster Hunter, or for people who have played Monster Hunter for a really long time, because it harkens back to a lot of stuff that happened in former games, and it's just a very nostalgic series if you've played Monster Hunter for a time, but it's also just a really fun action-adventure series. It's just really fucking great. It's definitely up there with my favorites. And then above it, we have Monster Hunter Orage, Volumes 1 through 4, which is complete. I don't know if I mentioned this was complete, but this is also complete. Not a good Monster Hunter series. I mean, if you want it just for the sake of having a Monster Hunter shit, go ahead. But Hiro Mashima, it's mediocre, to say the least about it. It's more of just an original thing than a Monster Hunter thing. There's a little too much original content to be able to enjoy it as a Monster Hunter fan. And I guess, I don't know, like Hiro Mashima's style doesn't really suit the monsters from Monster Hunter. They all look kind of cartoony and kind of weird. Which is probably why he did a lot of, like, original monsters. But yeah, it's not the best Monster Hunter series. If you're looking for a Monster Hunter series, get Monster Hunter Flash Hunter. Leave this for, like, if you're a fan of, like, Fairy Tail and you want to hear Hiro Mashima's spin on what Monster Hunter would be if he was, like, in creative control or something. Next up we have My Brother's Husband, Volume 1. This is a wonderful, wonderful story. Just absolutely wonderful, and I cannot wait for the live action that's going to be coming out soon. Super hype. Next up we have Mobile Suit Gundam, The Origin. We have volumes 1 through 7 up here, and then down here below, stacked, we have volumes 8 through 12, and that is complete. This is the best manga you could possibly get on the market today. Highest quality possible manga, hands down. It's got this beautiful, really heavy matte cover, and the paper is like glossy photo paper, and all the pages that are in full color are in full color. It's just an absolutely fantastic release, and I would hop on it because this is the kind of series that I feel would go out of print eventually and get really expensive. So if you're a Gundam fan and you want to get into the series, get into it while you still can, because I can't speak for how long it's going to be in print. Next up we have My Love Story, volumes 1 through 13. This is a fantastic series, and definitely one of the shoujo that I would recommend to anybody, even people who don't like shoujo, just because of the nature of the story is just, it subverts a lot of, like, shoujo manga tropes that usually put people off, and the main couple is just an absolute delight to just watch. And yeah, this is just a really great series, and I highly recommend it, and this is complete. Next up we have My Girlfriend's a Geek, volumes 1 through 5, which is complete. This is about a guy who meets a girl at his, like, part-time job, and he initiates a relationship with her, and she tells him that if they're in a relationship together, he has to know that she's this huge fujoshi. But he accepts anyway, and the rest of the manga is just him having to deal with her, like, fangirl nonsense. It's a really great manga, and I absolutely adore it. And I also own the light novels, and I definitely recommend those too. Those are hilarious. Next up we have My Girlfriend is a T-Rex. Got a lot of My Girlfriend is. This one's just about, the concept is, it's dinosaurs have further evolved in order to continue to live on Earth, and now they kind of look like humans. And our main character falls in love with this huge, like, brute, kind of dumb T-Rex girl. It's just an absolute hilarious treat, and it's kind of a guilty pleasure. I really, really like it. Next up, we have all my other Gundam stuff. We have Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt 1 through 6, Mobile Suit Gundam Wing Endless Waltz, which is the movie adaptation, and then we have Mobile Suit Gundam Wing Endless Waltz Glory of the Losers, which is sometimes a tongue twister for me, volumes 1 through 4, which is just a manga adaptation, sort of Mobile Suit Gundam Wing. It's cool. These are cool. These are really nice. I can't really say much about this one, but if you really like Gundam, I highly recommend both of these, especially Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is a fantastic, fantastic manga for Gundam fans. It's just really, really great. Next up over here, stacked, we have Mysterious Girlfriend X, volumes 1 through 6, which is complete. I absolutely adore this artist's artwork. There's just something about it that just draws me to it. Maybe it's like the details he can put into like his work. Just the little extras that can be like found in the artwork after like a third or fourth time. It's just really, really neat, and I absolutely adore it, even though it's kind of a weird premise about a couple who are bound together by tasting each other's drool, which is kind of weird, but I really like it. Next up we have Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun, volumes 1 through 8. This is a 4-coma about this guy who kind of secretly draws shoujo manga, and the girl who winds up unwittingly helping him because she like one day tried to like confess her love to him, but instead it sounded like she was asking for his autograph, and then she winds up like in all of the schemes where he's like trying to do research, and she winds up trying to like help him. It's a really funny manga, and I highly recommend it. It's really, really nice. And then finally, on this shelf, we have Murcielago volumes 1 through 5. I've already gone through the whole "this is not a Yuri" spiel enough to know that this is not a Yuri. It's just a crazy action series with a lesbian protagonist. That's all it is. You can have a lesbian protagonist without it being a Yuri, but there are like it is a pretty graphic series, both sexually and also the gore. So if that kind of puts you off, I wouldn't really recommend the series. It's an okay series. It's not high on my recommendation list, but if you're like just a fan of like crazy, like kind of the rule of cool, I think is a term that was used for this series, sort of action, I would definitely suggest looking into Murcielago. And yeah, that is my 4th shelf. We have finished, and now I'm going to move on to the next shelf eventually, but until then, I will see you guys later.